The sun is beating down on the shores of Ganryujima. The year is 1612. A man stands on the sand, his silhouette cut against the blinding glare of the ocean. He is waiting. He has been waiting for 2 hours. His opponent, the most feared duelist in Japan, is pacing, sweating, his cortisol levels spiking, his mind fracturing under the weight of an unexplained absence. When the boat finally arrives, the man steps off, holding not a steel katana, but a wooden oar carved into a crude weapon. He looks disheveled. He looks unprepared. And in that precise moment, before a single blow is struck, the duel is already over. The opponent charges in a rage, swings, and misses. The wooden oar cracks his skull. Death is instantaneous. The man was Miyamoto Musashi. But understand this, he did not kill his enemy with a piece of wood. He killed him with a gap in time. He killed him by architecting a psychological void that the human brain cannot process without collapsing. Stop. Listen closely. What you are about to hear is not philosophy. It is not a history lesson. It is a declassified manual on the mechanics of human dominance. The strategies contained in Musashi's Book of Five Rings are frequently sanitized for corporate boardrooms and martial arts dojos, stripped of their inherent toxicity to make them palatable for the masses. We are not here to sanitize. We are here to synthesize. We are going to extract the raw behavioral algorithms Musashi used to dismantle the human psyche and overlay them onto modern dark psychology. Warning: this information acts as a neuro-linguistic virus. Once you understand the mechanics of the gaze, the rhythm, and the crush, you will no longer be able to participate in normal social interactions without seeing the strings. You will see the manipulation in every handshake, every marketing campaign, every conversation. You are stepping out of the passenger seat and into the operating room. Proceed only if you are prepared to view human connection as a series of calculated vulnerabilities. Most people move through life in a state of cognitive sleep. They believe their thoughts are their own. They believe their reactions are organic. They are wrong. Musashi understood 400 years ago what modern neuroscience has only recently mapped. The mind is a pattern recognition machine, and if you can interrupt the pattern, you can rewrite the software. This brings us to the first tactical pillar, the gaze of the void. In traditional combat, you look at the sword. In social combat, you look at the eyes. Musashi rejected both. He proposed a method of observation called Kan-Ken. Ken is observation with the physical eye, looking at the surface movements. Kan is observation with the mind's eye, perceiving the intent, the anxiety, the hidden tremor in the soul. In the lexicon of dark psychology, this is known as predatory calibration. When you engage with a target, whether it is a negotiation adversary, a romantic interest, or a rival, your natural instinct is to focus on what they are saying. You are decoding their syntax. This is a mistake. While you are listening to their words, you are missing the behavioral architecture crumbling beneath the surface. Musashi teaches us to detach, to widen the field of vision, to look through the opponent, not at them. When you effectuate this unfocused gaze, you trigger a primal alarm system in the target's amygdala. Humans are social animals. We rely on eye contact to gauge approval and safety. When you deny them the validation of a focused gaze, when you look at them with the detached, dead-eyed serenity of a surgeon, you create a void, a void. This is where the first mechanism of control takes root. The human brain abhors a vacuum. When you provide silence, when you provide a flat affect, the target's brain frantically rushes to fill that silence with its own insecurities. They begin to project. They start talking faster. They reveal information they meant to keep hidden. They are trying to solve the riddle of your detachment, and in doing so, they hand you the keys to their psychological destruction. But here is where we must pivot. Here is the lie you have been fed since birth. Society, your parents, your teachers, they have all conditioned you to believe that empathy is your greatest strength. They told you that to understand someone, you must feel what they feel. You must mirror their emotions to build rapport. This is a calculated betrayal. It is a lie designed to keep you compliant. Empathy, in the context of conflict, is a fatal vulnerability. If you feel what your opponent feels, you are infected by their state. If they are anxious, you become anxious. If they are angry, you become reactive. Musashi's doctrine of the void is the total amputation of emotional resonance. To control the interaction, you must not care about the outcome. You must view the other human being not as a person, but as a biological set of inputs and outputs. This sounds sociopathic. It is. In the clinical sense, high-functioning sociopathy is simply the ability to turn off the feedback loop of empathy, to execute a strategy without hesitation. Musashi did not hate his opponents. He simply deleted them. He removed the self from the equation. When you achieve this state of no mind, or mushin, you become a mirror. You reflect the target's neuroses back at them without absorbing any of the toxicity yourself. You become a ghost they cannot touch, but one that can touch them. Now, we descend deeper. We move from observation to disruption. Musashi wrote extensively about rhythm. He posited that all things in the universe, from the tides to the breath of a dying man, have a rhythm. If you can read the rhythm, you can predict the future. But if you can break the rhythm, you can control the timeline. This is tactic 2, the synaptic interruption. In 1974, a clinical experiment was conducted at the University of Washington regarding expectancy violation theory. Subjects were placed in a room with an actor. The actor was instructed to behave normally for 10 minutes, mirroring body language, nodding, adhering to the social contract. Then, without warning, the actor was instructed to break the rhythm, to freeze mid-sentence, to laugh at a tragic statement, to invade personal space and then retreat. The results were immediate and physiological. The subjects didn't just get confused, their cortisol spiked. Their heart rate's variability became erratic. They entered a state of cognitive freeze. This is the sword stroke Musashi used at Ganryujima. By arriving late, he broke the rhythm of the duel before it began. He forced his opponent to wait, to simmer, to anticipate a rhythm that never came. You can apply this today. In a high-stakes conversation, establish a pattern. Nod. Agree. Speak at a consistent tempo. Lull the target into a rhythmic trance. Then snap it. Stop talking abruptly. Change the subject to something completely unrelated. Drop your voice to a whisper. This is called pattern interrupt in neurolinguistic programming. It causes a momentary system crash in the target's processing center. For a split second, their critical factor, the part of the brain that analyzes and doubts, goes offline. In that window of confusion, they are highly suggestible. You can implant a command, frame a narrative, or seize authority, and they will accept it simply because they are desperate for stability. You are the only stable point in the chaos you created. Musashi called this holding the ken, to hold the initiative. You dictate the tempo. You slow it down when they want to speed up. You explode when they are resting. You are not fighting them. You are fighting their expectation of reality. But the rabbit hole goes deeper. We have observed, we have disrupted. Now we must crush. The third tactic is perhaps the most controversial. Musashi called it crushing. It is the application of overwhelming psychological force to break the opponent's spirit before physical engagement. This is not about shouting. It is not about intimidation. It is about reality tunneling. Musashi stated, "Do not let the enemy raise his head." This means you must dominate the meta-narrative. In any interaction, there are two realities fighting for dominance. If you are negotiating a salary, the employer's reality is, "We have a budget." Your reality is, "I am indispensable." The person with the stronger conviction, the stronger frame, wins. To crush is to impose your reality so completely that the target begins to doubt their own sanity. This is the dark heart of gaslighting, refined into a strategic art form. Let's look at the clinical evidence. Consider the Asch conformity experiments. A subject is placed in a room with actors. The actors are told to identify a line on a screen incorrectly. They all say the short line is the long line. The subject, looking at the evidence of his own eyes, knows they are wrong. But as the pressure mounts, as the social reality crushes him, he breaks. He agrees with the goop. He rejects the evidence of his senses to align with the dominant frame. Musashi utilized this by projecting an aura of invincibility. He carried himself as if the victory had already occurred. He treated his opponents as if they were already dead. This is future pacing. When you look at someone with absolute certainty that you are the superior force, their mirror neurons pick up on that certainty. They begin to simulate your dominance in their own minds. They run a mental simulation where they lose, and that simulation manifests in their body language. They slouch. They hesitate. They have been crushed by a thought. But how does this apply to you, right now? Look at your screen. Look at the device you are holding. You believe you are the user. You are not. You are the used. The algorithms that govern your digital life are built on Musashi's principles. They are the ultimate practitioners of dark psychology. Think about the real-world application of the variable reward schedule. This is Musashi's rhythm disruption weaponized by Silicon Valley. You pull down to refresh your feed. Sometimes you get a like, sometimes you get nothing. The rhythm is broken. It is unpredictable. This releases dopamine. It creates an addiction loop identical to a slot machine. The algorithm is the opponent arriving late to the island. It keeps you waiting. It keeps you checking. It owns your attention because it controls the flow of time. You are being crushed every day by media narratives that tell you what to fear, who to hate, and what to buy. They are imposing a reality tunnel so dense that you cannot see the horizon. They use the gaze, monitoring your every click, your every pause, observing your behavior to tailor the perfect cage for your mind. To ignore these tactics is to be a leaf in the wind. To understand them is to become the wind. The path of the psychological vault is not for the weak. It requires a shedding of the social skin. You must be willing to be cold. You must be willing to be silent. You must be willing to look into the void of human interaction and not blink. Musashi ended his life in a cave, writing by candlelight, alone. He understood that the ultimate victory is not over others, but over the delusions of one's own mind. But to get there, you must first navigate the battlefield of the world. Use the gaze to see the hidden intent. Use the rhythm to disrupt the automated scripts of those around you. Use the crush to assert your reality over the collective hallucination. Do not wield these tactics lightly. They leave scars, not on the skin, but on the psyche. Once you start seeing the world through this lens, you cannot close your eyes. The duel has already begun. The boat is arriving. The question is, are you holding the sword or are you holding the oar? End of transmission.